Hello again. We have today a vintage MuDu watch that is looking a little tired, but definitely isn't working properly. We're going to fix that, and I'll show you how I regulated this mechanical watch. As you saw, the watch runs when it's horizontal, but completely stops when it's vertically aligned. Let's get into the disassembly. Strap removed, case back removed, movement ring and gasket removed, gasket will need to be replaced. Crown removed, ready to remove the movement from the case. It'll be getting a new acrylic crystal. Hands removed, dial removed, automatic rotor off, automatic works off, automatic works disassembled. On the dial side, we remove the calendar works, date wheel, cannon pinion and intermediate wheel. Back on the back, we let down the power in the mainspring, then remove the balance, pallet forks, winding works and going barrel. Now this bridge is off, you can see the going train removed, then back to the front to remove the rest of the keyless works. The old mainspring in the going barrel, removed from the going barrel. Here is the entire movement ready for cleaning. If you saw my last video on the rotary watch, you would have noticed some similarities to this movement. That's because they're kind of sister movements, the difference being that this MuDu doesn't have a quick change date function. The watch movement has been cleaned and rinsed in the ultrasonic and is ready for reassembly. A new mainspring has been fitted to the going barrel. The arbor has been oiled and replaced, then the barrel lid put back on and oiled. Going train and barrel in with the going train bridge, barrel bridge on, winding works in and oiled. To the dial side of the watch where we put back the keyless works with plenty of grease and oil on the friction points. Then the cannon pinion and intermediate wheel are oiled and reinstalled. Dial side pivot jewels oiled, pallet forks in and faces oiled, back pivot jewels oiled, balance in with both cap jewels cleaned and oiled, automatic works reassembled and oiled, automatic works reinstalled, the calendar works and date disc have been reinstalled and oiled. The dial has been put back on and the markers buffed, the hands have been buffed and then reinstalled. Before the movement was put back in the case and case back were cleaned, the gold plating on the case was polished to remove any tarnish, then re-cleaned and a new crystal was fitted. With the movement back in, the automatic rotor was reinstalled and oiled. Now for some fun with regulating. During the reassembly, I gave the movement a bit of a tweak, a rough regulation, just to make sure the watch was generally running okay. I of course demagnetised the watch first, and this was before I put the automatic works back on. But once the watch was reassembled, I wore it for a few days to let the oil settle in, demagnetised the watch again, then started regulating the movement. There are some important checks to do before regulating the movement. I'll tell you about those at the end of the video. For the purpose of regulating the movement, we are interested in these two adjustment arms. The low one holds the end of the hairspring and can adjust the relative position of the impulse jewel to the banking pins, setting the beat error. The higher arm controls the effective length of the hairspring. That controls the rate of the watch. Moving the second arm closer to the first increases the effective length of the hairspring, slowing the rate of the movement. Therefore, moving the second arm away from the first shortens the effective length of the hairspring, increasing the rate of the movement. Let's get our baseline reading from the time graph. We are just going to look at the dial-up position for this exercise. You can see that the amplitude is looking really good. There is a small amount of beat error, but it is some 16 to 20 seconds a day fast in rate. I'm going to use a pair of brass tweezers to make the adjustments, first to the beat error, then to the rate. Here I make the first adjustment to the beat error. Yes, that smaller movement. Then put it back on the time grapher. The beat error went up, so I moved the arm in the wrong direction, so now we'll move it back anti-clockwise. Another minute adjustment, and the time graph says, much better. One final tweak to try and get the beat error to 0. Let's have a look. The beat error in the dial-up position is now looking great. Now let's focus on the rate. We know it needs to come down about 15 seconds a day from what we just saw. To lower the rate, the effective length of the hairspring needs to increase. The arm controlling the effective length of the hairspring needs to be moved towards the other arm. That was too much. We'll need to move it back a smidge. Back it goes. That's too much the other way. We're back where we started. Another nudge back together. Ooh, this looks promising. Let's see how it looks after a few minutes. Now that is looking good. I'll reassemble the watch and wear it for a couple of days again to let things settle in. Then I'll use my more accurate time graph for completed watches. Here is the report from the time grapher. The dial up position shows a very good amplitude, beat error and rate. The dial down position shows a good rate with the same amplitude and beat error. You can see from the crown down position that there is some positional error in the movement, unfortunately. Not ideal, but at least it's working now, considering when at the start of this it didn't even want to run in the crown down position. I'm okay with these results as the watch will still be a good timekeeper, so let's finish off the watch with a shiny new crown and strap. You can see the new crown fitted with the stem trimmed, a new caseback gasket greased and fitted, and the new strap I promised. This MuDu watch is going to be good for many years to come. As always, I hope you have enjoyed today's watch servicing video. Please consider liking this video and subscribing for more. And if you would like your watch serviced, check out the links in the description to my website for further details. Now for those checks I mentioned earlier. The movement needs to be thoroughly cleaned and oiled correctly, especially the jewels that we've already done. The watch needs to be demagnetized and fully wound. The watch movement also needs to have good amplitude and minimum positional error. So in the perfect world I would have investigated into the cause of the positional error, corrected it, such as replacing a bent balance staff, but for this watch it was decided that it wasn't necessary, but I would regulate it anyway in the dial up position only. Typically the timing would be done in multiple positions and then averaged to get the most accurate on wrist results possible.